I'll be going over ultrasound today. You'll start by getting your machine and plugging it in here to an outlet. And this is where you turn it on the very back at the top. Switch it on, and you can change your brightness by this little knob here. While that's getting turned on, we can pick out our sound head size. There's either a 1, 3, 5, or 10. They're just different sizes, so we'll just go with the standard one. You plug it in at this top row, and it has a picture of the sound head. Alright, so here you have 4 different channels, and then you have an ultrasound channel. So we'll pan to the very bottom, it'll be highlighted, and then you'll press ultrasound. As that pulls up, we're gonna edit, and this is where you put in all your buttons here. So the head warming is only for continuous, which is thermal. You don't want to use it for the pulsed, so you can switch it on or off. The frequency is how deep it goes, so 1 megahertz can be up to 5 centimeters deep. You can pan it to 3.3, which is 1 to 2 centimeters deep. The duty cycle, it can either be continuous, which is 100%, it's also called thermal, or the 10, 20, and 50 are pulsed, so there'll be an on and off cycle for that. The display, or the intensity, you turn up here at the knob. You can go increase or decrease. Treatment time, you press it, and then you can go 5 minutes or 6 minutes, and you press enter here. To start it, you just press start. If you ever need to stop it or pause it, there's buttons there for that too. Alright, so I validated her patient ID, and I've introduced myself as an SPTA. Now I have all my parameters set. I have her positioned comfortably and myself positioned comfortably, draped. So we're gonna be doing her wrist here. So you wanna make sure she removes all her jewelry. Okay, good. And we can clean the area if needed. I have my ultrasound here. We're gonna be doing pain. So for the ultrasound, do frequency, it can be 1 to 3, duty cycle 100%, and then we'll do up to 0.5. Treatment time, we'll do 5 minutes. Alright, so you want an appropriate amount. I can put a towel here too, so the gel doesn't get on her. And then you want enough to where it's always in contact with the skin, because it can burn the patient. So we use the gel because it has to be a medium between the sound head and the patient. That way there's no air that comes in and burns the patient. Okay, so you can start by just moving the gel around to where you want it. You want to do small circles, continuous circles as well. It's 4 to 8 centimeters per second. Overlapping circle is about a ½ inch. So you don't want to start it until the sound head is on the skin. Once it's on the skin, then you can press start. Okay, so you want to move it, and then we'll press start. The light turned on, so that means it's on. Okay, so we went through the whole treatment, so I'll just stop it. Once I do that, I can clean this, but I want to get the ultrasound off the patient first. And then can use a wipe to clean that off, and then turn this off, unplug it, and then store it properly.
Okay, so I have already validated the patient's ID and introduced myself as an SPTA and explained to her what we're going to be doing today with ultrasound and why we're doing it. And I have got her consent as well. So today we're going to be doing phonophoresis, which is a transdermal ultrasound, and it has specific parameters that goes along with it. So you want to make sure that you come in to your ultrasound, and then you're going to edit your frequency to be at 3.3, and you want the duty cycle to be at 20%, so you want it to be pulsed. The intensity, once we get started, you're going to turn it up to 0.5 to 7.5, and then your treatment time is going to be 5 to 10 minutes. What phonophoresis is it's ultrasound, but you're adding a drug to the ultrasound gel as well, so that the drug can be absorbed by the skin. So I don't have that over here, so let me grab it real quick. You always want to make sure that you have everything you need before you start your treatment session. Alright, so I'm getting ready to start this. I'm going to put a glove on because at the end I can take the glove and massage the rest of the medicine into her skin so that more of it absorbs. And then also, before we get started, you want to make sure that the patient doesn't have any drug contraindications with the medicine that you're using. Most of the time the medicine is going to be a cortisone cream or hydrocortisone, and dexamethasone can also be used, but those treatments are normally limited to about 6 treatments because of insurance. And you also want to make sure that they're not taking any steroids orally, so you don't want to double dose the patient. All right, so we're ready to get started. I'm going to go ahead and put ultrasound gel on her wrist. Actually, I'm going to put the medicine on first, and then we'll put the gel on. So you want a decent amount for the area that you're going to be treating. I didn't do very much since it's her wrist. We're going to add the ultrasound gel on top of that, because the medicine could be a medium, but white, thick creams don't transmit into the skin very well, so you want to make sure you also add that ultrasound gel on there too. All right, I'm going to go ahead and turn my intensity up. We'll do 0.6. Before you start the machine, you want to go ahead and move the medicine and the ultrasound gel around so that it's in there. You want to make sure to keep the ultrasound head on the skin at all times, not lifting it up. So we're going to go ahead and start. Is that feeling okay? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so we have finished the treatment now. I'm gonna turn it off and make sure that the machine zeroes out before I remove the sound head. So I'll remove the sound head, wipe it off, and I'll also clean it off in a minute with a wipe. And you can take the remaining gel and medicine and just massage it into the skin so that it absorbs more. And then once that's over, you can take your towel and wipe it off, making sure that you get all that off. You don't want to get any ultrasound gel on the patient's clothes. And that's how you do phonophoresis.
Alright, my name is Marissa. I'm going to be walking y'all through an underwater ultrasound treatment with our patient Ashley here. So first, do you have any implant components, blood clots, or impaired sensation of any kind?
No, I don't.
No, okay. So you want to make sure, you would check your patient's chart beforehand to make sure they don't have any contraindications or precautions, but it doesn't hurt to ask them again just to make sure, and there will be a list of those at the end of the video. So next, you want to make sure that your patient is comfortably positioned and draped, because they need to be comfortable throughout the treatment. Also, you're gonna have a bucket of tepid water in a bucket, so that's degassed water, and you're gonna make sure that it's boiled beforehand, and of course you wanna make sure it's cooled down before your treatment starts. And also make sure that no air bubbles come in contact with the patient's skin. So now we're gonna make sure our machine is plugged in. It's plugged in and on. You're gonna set your parameters. So we're gonna do a frequency of 1 megahertz, duty cycle at 100% because we're doing continuous. You're gonna set your intensity, whatever you're treating, whatever you would normally set the intensity on if you weren't doing underwater, you're gonna add 0.5 watts per centimeter squared to it. So all those parameters have been set. We're gonna do a treatment time of 5 minutes. And now we're gonna start our treatment. Not only do you wanna make sure that your patient is comfortable, but you wanna make sure that you're comfortable throughout the treatment. So you don't wanna put too much stress on your back. If I was in this chair, so I'm gonna get on the floor. Okay, so now we're gonna start the treatment. You wanna make sure you have a glove on whatever hand you're gonna be holding the sound head with. So you wanna place the sound head in the bucket. Make sure it's 1 to 2 centimeters away from the skin. You never wanna directly touch the skin with the sound head. So you're gonna go ahead and begin moving in small continuous circles, and then you're gonna start your treatment. And you can increase the intensity if needed to reach the desired level. You should keep the sound head moving at all times. You wanna make sure it's parallel to the skin to minimize refraction and optimize coupling. And you never wanna take it out of the water because it can't be exposed to air. It has to stay in contact with the medium. And you just wanna continue to do slow, steady circles. All right, so now we've completed our treatment. You're going to, at the end of the treatment, most machines automatically cut off, but if you're using one that doesn't, you wanna make sure that you turn your intensity back down to 0 before you take the sound head out of the water. So our treatment's done. And you're just gonna get a towel. You're gonna dry your transducer or your sound head off. And we'll clean this with a wipe later. You're gonna remove your patient's foot from the water. Make sure the patient's foot is clean and dry. And then you just wanna unplug your machine, and that's the end of